Over the past year, more Americans have started enlisting in the military again, not because of war, not because of a draft, but because civilian life has quietly become more unstable than most people want to admit. And today I want to explain why that's happening, what it says about the country, and what people don't realize they're actually signing up for. This is the Adjutant. Let's go ahead and get on into it. Now, if you've been paying attention at all to the news, to social media, or just to conversations around you, you'll probably notice something shifting. After years of missed recruiting goals, the U.S. military is seeing an uptick in enlistments again. And on the surface, that surprises people because culturally, we spent the last several years hearing that young Americans don't want structure and don't want authority, and they don't want institutions. But behavior tells the truth faster than opinions do. Like I've always said, don't look at what someone says, look at what they do. And what people are doing right now says something very important. This isn't a sudden wave of patriotism, it is a response to pressure. Now, when systems stop working the way people expect them to, they start looking for alternatives. And for a growing number of Americans, the military feels like one of the last systems that actually still makes sense. Now, let's talk honestly about the environment people are making this decision in. Housing costs are up dramatically. Healthcare feels confusing and expensive. Job security feels fragile, even for people who did everything right. Look at the whole age of AI. There are many people, even in the engineering field, who are finding it challenging to receive job offers and promotions. Now, degrees don't guarantee opportunity the way they used to. Loyalty to company no longer rewarded people the way they were promised. And for many Americans, especially younger ones, the path forward feels unclear. Why? There's no structure. There is no predictability. There is no sense that effort today leads to stability tomorrow. That uncertainty weighs on people more than they like to admit. So when they look at the military, they just don't see uniforms and formations. Well, this isn't actually a uniform. This is a hoodie from the University of South Carolina. So, as I said, they don't see formations. What they do see, however, is a guaranteed paycheck, healthcare that actually exists, clear promotion systems, training tied to real world skills. In other words, folks, they see order. And when chaos increases everywhere else, order becomes attractive. Now, here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. The military, it's not just a job, it's a life system. What do I mean by that? It tells you where to be. It tells you when you'll be paid. It tells you what success looks like. For some people, that sounds restrictive, but for others, especially people who feel stuck, that structure feels like relief. The military still rewards consistency, long-term commitment, showing up and meeting the standard, and that is increasingly rare in a civilian life. And that you need to understand is very important. So when people enlist today, many of them aren't chasing just the adventure. They're chasing stability. But here's where I slow the conversation down, folks, because stability always has a price. And the military collects that price in ways people don't fully understand at first. What do I mean by that? Well, you give up control over your time. You give up control over your location. You give up certain level of personal autonomy. The system works, but only if you understand it. People who come in thinking the military is an easy answer often struggle the most. Because the military doesn't bend itself around you, you bend yourself around the system. That trade-off can be worth it, but folks, only when it's a conscious decision. So, who does this moment actually make sense for? It works best for people who value structure, can have delayed gratification, think in decades and not months, are willing to learn how systems work instead of fighting them. Now, and who should pause before jumping on in? Well, let's talk about that. People who struggle with authority, you're going to have a hard problem in the military. You need consistent autonomy. Other people who struggle or have issues or expect flexibility without trade-offs. The military can be a powerful platform, people, but it is not magic. It rewards patience, discipline, and long-term thinking, and it punishes shortcuts. So here's the real takeaway. People aren't enlisting because the military suddenly changed. They're enlisting because everything else did. And when uncertainty rises, people gravitate towards systems that still feel solid. Information only matters if you understand it, and understanding gives you options. Whether this path is right for you or not, clarity beats confusion every time. This is the Adjutant, and I wish you blessings and blessings, and now you're better equipped to decide. Shalom.